Being a tax haven. Check. I call the honourable member Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Chairman, and it's a great pleasure to take a call tonight in the debate on vote finance and this year's estimates debate. Sir, I just want to reflect on the fact that for the last couple of weeks now the world has been absolutely gripped watching what can happen when a country's debt gets out of control.
Right.
And for the first time, the big spending economy of the US has started to realise if you just keep spending and having your cake and eat it too, eventually you have to pay the piper. So, Mr Chairman, the most important thing that New Zealand has to do to guarantee our prosperity, sir, is get our debt under control. We can't afford to have the biggest chunk of hard-working New Zealand taxpayers' money funding debt servicing to the international moneylenders. That, sir, would be the single biggest threat to the prosperity of every family in New Zealand. And that, sir, is why this government has spent the past 3 years getting rid of the economic chaos that the Labour Party left us with. Now let's just look at this. Let's look at it. When Michael Cullen opened the books in 2008, he announced his legacy to the people of New Zealand was never-ending deficits. Never-ending deficits. The Labour government put this country into recession 4 years before the rest of the world. They presided over the all but death of the manufacturing and export sector, and it's the fact that that party drove the real New Zealand economy to the brink of collapse that means that we are now in the position that we are. Sir, they bloated the public service. The only thing they know how to do is to take money out of people's pockets and spend it growing government, increasing handouts, increasing welfare, borrowing, spending. Sir, it's all they know. They've gone back to core principles. But this government, sir, understands that the best thing we can do is get a handle on government spending and support the real, productive, tradable sector to lead New Zealand out of this mire. And we are seeing that. We have seen the plan of Minister English, Prime Minister Key over the last 3 years lead this country back into growth. So the economy in the worst of times is now showing real signs of recovery. We've got growth forecasts of 3% per annum for the next 4 years. 170,000 new jobs thanks to the economic management of this government. We are seeing, sir, in the worst of economic times and amidst having to pay for the Christchurch earthquake, $8.5 billion worth, we are paying for Christchurch. That money is in the bank. It is funded. We are growing the economy. We are getting better services out of our public sector. We are providing better outcomes for New Zealand. We are letting them keep their money. We are incentivising hard work. We're not incentivising people to sit with their handouts. We're not incentivising the government sector to grow. We're saying, if you're working, we're behind you. If you're aspirational for your future, we're backing you. We're going to encourage savings, we're going to encourage business, we're going to encourage growth, and we're going to get debt under control. We have turned that never-ending deficits of Michael Cullen and the Labour Party into a return to surplus in 3 years, even after paying for Christchurch, even after the worst economic conditions that the world has ever seen. Sir, our tax changes were a significant part of that because we changed the incentive away from the debt-fuelled consumption orgy that Labour presided over and returned it to incentivising production, savings and investment. And sir, in a very simple sense, that is why New Zealand knows that National are the party to manage the economy. That's why they're backing John Key. That's why they don't want to hear a bar from Messrs Cunliffe, Parker and Gough. They know that National is the party that will provide them with growth, that will provide them with prosperity, that will build them a brighter future. They know that all they can expect from Labour is tax, borrow, spend. I think the Labour Party must be the only political party in the world that can come up with a whole new tax that puts us further in debt. How do you do that? How do you have a new tax, and put us more in debt?
I don't know.
It's unbelievable.
Order.
It's unbelievable.
I'm sorry to interrupt the honourable member. Can I just say to the members on my left, I'd refer them to Speaker's ruling 61/5, Speaker Barnard and Speaker Stratham. and just say that Ms Adams is making a hard-hitting speech and some interjections can be expected, but not so much as to drown out a speaker. The Speaker will not allow that. Call the Honourable Member Amy Adams.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. But of course, sir, the facts speak for themselves. The New Zealand public knows they have a choice between sensible, prudent economic management that will grow the productive sector, that will provide jobs, that will raise incomes, and that will give them the brighter future they deserve.
I call the Honourable Shane Jones.
Mr Chair, if there was ever an example where volume and